Hello, everybody. Today we're going to discuss the book There Is No Antimemetics Division by Quantum. Uh, let's discuss the plot first. In the plot of this book, there are entities. There are memetic entities that spread like viruses between people, but they're really just ideas. They're just things that spread and propagate themselves. And then of course there are also the anti-memetic entities. They're ideas that erase themselves and erase ideas from existence. Um, Hard to explain, but basically it's an idea that eats itself and other ideas around it. If an anti-memetic entity can eat memories from you, it can erase itself from existence. And there, of course, there are other entities that are both memetic and anti-memetic, in that they spread themselves, and by spreading themselves, they soak up information. And what if there is a entity that is both memetic and anti-memetic, that is so powerful that just finding out about it will actually cause the end of the universe? An entity that is so wildly beyond anybody's expression that just by finding out about it ensures your end. That's what this book is about. This book is one of the scariest books I have read in a good long time. It's a piece of science fiction, um, horror as well, and it's kind of hard to explain, but trust me, it's well worth it. In this book, there's an organization that tries to combat these memetic and anti-memetic entities. And of course, the problem is if you have an organization that's dedicated to combating these things, what happens when that organization runs up against this one entity that is so powerful that just knowing about it causes basically a black hole of information? Obviously, how do you fight that? You can't know about it. You can't, and if you can't know about it, you can't fight it. But if you can't fight it, then it takes over. Kind of a catch-22 situation. This book follows two different people, both with the last name Quinn, Marie Quinn and Adam Quinn. They're husband and wife, at least for most of the book, until Marie Quinn has a anti-memetic entity eat her memories of being married. And so, got a question: are they still married? Probably not, because it never happened for her. It never happened for him either. After a while. Um. Anyway, I'm going to try and discuss what this book is actually about. I'm going to give this. This is going to be a relatively short review, simply because, not because I didn't like this book. I love this book, but because I want you to read it, and I don't really. It's very difficult to discuss this book without going into heavy spoilers. And trust me, you do not want to be spoiled in this book. It is that good. What is this book about, though? This book is about the difficulty of censorship. How do you censor yourself so that you don't remember something that you have to fight? Um, and it's obvious that it happened, that in this organization that this book takes place in, the unknown organization. Let's be honest, it's the SCP organization, and if you know anything about the internet, you've heard of the SCP organization. Um, but in the book, it's just called the UO, unknown organization. Um, how do you fight this entity? Obviously, obviously this organization has come upon this entity, and it's only ever called UO-3125 in the book. So it's never given a name. But basically, how do you fight that? You can't know about it, you got to censor your memories away from being from any from remembering these things to the point where you can't remember that you're fighting it. Kind of a difficult question, and it's kind of shown in the book that the unknown organization has fought this entity for quite a few years. There are places all over the world that are still sitting there that are huge, and nobody remembers that they're there. And even when they look at them, they can't see them because that information has been edited out of existence. And every time this entity tries to insert itself into our universe, the unknown organization has to set off, basically, it's almost like a nuclear bomb of memetics, if that makes any sense. It's not actually a bomb, it doesn't destroy anything, it just destroys any knowledge of what was there. Um, and so there are all over the world, like I said, there are these installations that the unknown organization has had. They're huge. They're scattered everywhere. Nobody remembers, including the unknown organization, that they exist. Nobody can perceive their existence because they no longer exist in any kind of space of understanding. We can't perceive them. It's really scary. There are basically entities in this book that you may be sitting next to one right now and not know it, because even if you're looking at it, you can't perceive it, and it may be feeding off of your memories as we speak. Kind of a scary idea. If I had to give another pop culture reference, it's kind of like the silence in Doctor Who, where you can only perceive them when you're looking at them, and as soon as you turn away, you forget that they exist. I always found that really a scary Doctor Who monster, much scarier than the Weeping Angels, but that's neither here nor there. Um, I I highly suggest reading this book. It is well worth reading. Definitely go out, look for it. I've read other books by Quantum. I don't know what his real name is. I assume that the writer is a he. I don't even really know what he looks like. But he's a very good writer, and this is his masterpiece. Definitely read this book. I loved it. Two thumbs up from me. And I think next week we're probably going to have a longer discussion about the book I'm reading right now. But for this week, that's all I have to say. Thanks a lot. Bye bye.